Hi, I'm Elizabeth Yost-Hammer, the Director for the Center for the Advancement of Teaching and Faculty Development, and I'm a professor in the psychology department. And I want to just tell you a story about one of my health psychology assignments. This is when we in CAT+FD were first starting to think about AI and think about how are we going to respond to this and work with faculty on this. So we decided to do a little experiment with one of my health psychology assignments. Now let me give you a little bit of context. During the COVID semesters, we in CAT+FD did a series of workshops on authentic assignments. Remember that we were worried at this time students were at home and they had access to Google, and so how could we make uncheatable assignments, or what I would call authentic assignments, authentic assessments. And so we did a lot of work on that and research on that and did presentations on that. And so I had created in my health psychology class what I consider a really strong authentic assignment. This was in last fall, and I had students in small groups do book clubs. We read books around different topics that we were dealing with in health psychology. And so they had to do this book club paper. And I wrote it in a way that was really unique and, again, authentic, uncheatable. There's no other examples of this out on the internet, right? You can see I used a transparent format here, discussing the purpose, the task. I laid out everything that students needed to do. It needed to include the book's central argument and what evidence it used to support this argument. Okay, that's kind of like, basic book summary stuff. But then it went on to talk about things that we had been discussing in class. So how does your book relate to this central article we had used in class? Then pick one scientific study that the book cites and look it up, read it, critique that. Like this is, again, this is a unique assignment that's not already out there. How does your book relate to stress? This is a topic we've covered in class, and they had to use material from readings and lectures from the class. How do you think the book might affect your future behavior? So here we go, we're making it personal. And then what's your conclusion from the book? Not the book's conclusion, but your conclusion. And you can see I have all kinds of content and technical guidelines here. And then I had a academic integrity policy included, and then a clear rubric about how I'm going to grade these. All right, so again, this is something that I would have demonstrated at a workshop for an authentic assignment. All right, and one that I was really proud of and that it went really well. Well, in CAT, we knew these AI was coming out, and so we ran it through an AI called Jasper and asked it, hey, do this assignment for me. And this is what we got, all right? We got a paper back where it addressed every question that I asked. Now, again, notice it addressed it very shallow, very, not the depth that I would look for students, but it did give a good starting point, didn't it? So the first paragraph here is, what's the central argument of the book? Then it can go on and it can actually take this article, the Walsh article I asked them to apply, and apply it to it. It talked about what both the book and the article had in common. Then it talked about some of the citations in the book and critiqued that. So it chose an article called A Dose-Response Relationship Between Emerald Green Spaces and Health Outcomes by Matthew White and colleagues. All right, and it critiqued this. And then it goes on and relates it to stress, and then finally you can see it actually related it to the student's future behavior. All right. Now, I used my rubric and graded this paper that Jasper and AI gave back to us, and it was a pretty low C minus. But notice it was a passing grade even with this. What this made me do was it made me really reevaluate my rubric. Okay, I still think this is a great assignment. We're going to have to make some changes to this moving forward. But really, it made me look at my rubric. Right? My rubric was giving a lot of points for the very, very bare minimum here. Okay. Now, one thing I do want to point out, we did a deep dive on this paper that was turned in, and one thing is this article right here, the dose-response relationship between green spaces and health outcomes. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. This is not a real article by Matthew White. Now, the interesting thing is it could be, because Matthew White's in the book, and Matthew White's in the book when he is talking about nature and health. So the AI could find somebody who was cited in the book, and could find, if it couldn't find an article, it could find something close, right? Make something up. Yeah, this was pretty stunning to me when this happened. And it made me realize we've got to think more about this and more about the kind of assignments we need to make going forward, right? I did want to show you here, as I'm wrapping up, I did want to show you my rubric, okay? So you could see how it was at the time. So let's just look at that link between the book and Walsh. Okay, there's the third bullet, the third criteria down there. They got 2 points for if there's a weak link between the book and Walsh, right? So I'm like, if there's a weak link, have they done the paper? Should this be how the rubric is? And so I have actually now really adjusted my rubric on this assignment. I will want to add one last caveat, and that is that we did this experiment that was very eye-opening really early in the life of AIs. I just want to remind everyone that they are constantly learning, and I haven't done the experiment again to run it through and see how much better the paper that it would give me now would be. My guess is it would be much better. But this is a really good opportunity for me to look at this assignment, be sure it's hitting the objectives that I want it to hit, and then look at my rubric. And is it really grading the critical thinking and the skills and the critique and the depth that I want students to show me? So I think AI is going to give us unique opportunities to really examine our assignments, and I am going to take the challenge on this, and I hope you do too.